Hello everyone, Module 16. Security strategies are especially important if you think you're going to be a cybersecurity person someday. This chapter you should memorize. If you're in IT, yep, security is important. You're in computer science, yep, security is important. Doesn't matter what you do in IT, computer science, security is important. All right. So, we have different ways that we secure things. One of them is physical security. So we can have fences, we can have security guards, we can have video surveillance, alarm systems, metal detectors. We don't have any of that at the college, however. We do have locks. Some people use privacy screens. The server room is locked with a key card entry. In D1, I have a lock on the server room. So physical security is an important part of of cybersecurity or of security. You don't want the bad guys able to get to your equipment. That's an important piece. Now, authentication. We just implemented at the college multi-factor authentication. It requires more than one type of factor. So we're using two-factor authentication. We are using a Windows password, and we're also using, it used to be more of a token, but really everybody has gone to apps on their phones. So we possess an app on our phone that gives us a number, or that when we type in the number from the website, it then gives us access, and we have to know our password. On my laptop, to open up my laptop, I use my fingerprint. This is an interesting thing. Everybody types a certain way, and you can use that. I've never actually seen that one used, typing as a method of authentication. If you don't have multi-factor authentication on a login, it's just a matter of time before that happens. So they go right into what they say AAA. You know what AAA is? Oh, here it is. Authentication, authorization, accounting. So authentication is making sure who you are, that you are who you say you are. Authorizing or authorization is what do you have access to and what do you not have access to. Accounting is when did you log in, where did you log in from, what did you access, that sort of thing. So these are access controls. All right, moving on, we talked about that. Authenticator apps. Some companies still use these little fobs. My sister did when she was working in the hospital. It's mostly been replaced by phone apps. Now here's one. You can type in a code, fingerprint, or smart card. So we have card readers, and there's card readers in the IT room. You have to swipe in or RFID in with your card to get in. So we also do email filtering. Well, in WNCC, we have an email filtering system that, maybe once in a while you get a message that says it's suspicious. Well, that means that the email spam filtering couldn't quite determine if it was bad or good. All email systems for I don't know how many years have had spam filtering. If you don't have spam filtering, you get 500 messages a day, per hour probably. So lots of spam is already filtered out before you even see it. It's a necessity in today's world. A very important part of security is user education, because social engineering is the way that most hackers gain access to things. So what's social engineering? Well, you get an email from somebody that says, hey, if you click on this link, you'll get $1 million. They're trying to use human psychology to make it either urgent, tempting, or some way to get you click on something that you really, under normal circumstance, wouldn't click on. So many organizations, including WNCC, offer security training. And good security training is more security awareness. You want to keep people aware of the threats. You really don't want to just do training once a year and call it good. Because, in those other 11 months, what are people going to do? They're going to forget. They're going to let down their guard. So one of the rules of thumb of security is, pause for dramatic effect, you have to be right every single time. The bad guy only has to be right once, and they're in your system. With security, you can never totally prevent someone from hacking your system. It's not a matter of if you're going to get hacked. It's a matter of when. All you can do is fight a delaying action. All you can do is make yourself a less tempting target than the person down the road. That's all you can do. And it's a constant battle to keep things like that. So don't give out passwords. Do not use the same password in more than one computer, network, application, or website. Well, that's hard because how many people have like 70 or 80 different websites they have passwords to? Well, password manager. I use OneNote, Microsoft OneNote, to store all my passwords. So you will want to figure out some way. Tailgating. What's tailgating? Well, tailgating is social engineering. It's using human psychology. So if I'm walking in and I'm key carding myself in, I may not pay attention to the person behind me who just walks in the door the same time I do. So what you can do is you can sign out of the workstation. Make sure you're signed out of whatever applications you're in. If somebody else sits down at a computer and you're signed into your email, well, they can send an email to anybody with your credentials because you have not signed out. So dumpster diving, yeah, when you're doing industrial espionage, things that people throw away could have secret stuff on them. Phishing, you've probably seen phishing emails. They look legitimate. It's from your bank saying, oh, your account is past due. You better click here to pay your payment. Or Netflix says, your time is up. Something went wrong. Click on here. Well, phishing is a big part of social engineering. Spear phishing, well, I don't know. Phishing. Phishing is email that appears to come from companies you already do business with. Spoofing, and cybersecurity and ethical hacking, we do all kinds of spoofing. You can spoof Facebook, TikTok, anything you want. You send an email to somebody who says, oh, your TikTok account's been compromised. You click on it and you're taken somewhere else. And I'm not just saying email. It's also text messages, everything else. Any method of communication can be spoofed and scammed. So does that mean don't trust anybody? Yes, that's what it means. Use common sense. If your gut says, this is too good to be true, or you're suspicious of it, delete it, or call them up and ask if this is real. Make direct communication. All right, so malware, yep, we don't have as much malware as we used to have. Antivirus manufacturers have done a much better job of keeping bad things out of computers because they don't just look for antiviruses anymore, or viruses. They look for all kinds of malicious software that can get on your computer. There's also something called grayware, which is just annoying. Like when I install Office on a computer, Teams comes up. Well, I call that grayware because I don't use Teams. I don't want Teams coming up. I don't like programs that launch when they want to launch. If I want to use a program, I will use the program. But that's just me. So viruses, spyware, worms, Trojans, yeah, worms just copy themselves. Spyware spies on you. Keylogger could be on your computer right now, watching everything you're doing, and you would never know. So make sure you don't click on those sites that are too good to be true, or most of the things that you click on and receive on your computer, you don't even know it's there. We do a keylogger assignment in cybersecurity. We write a keylogger. In ethical hacking, yeah, you don't know it's there. It's capturing everything. And it's not that hard. So we're up against all kinds of things. The big one that we're seeing recently, or last few years, is ransomware. Ransomware holds your system, and we've all seen articles, and as a cybersecurity person, you want to research all of that, keep up on everything, because you need to know what's going on out there. So, Scottsbluff County, Eastern Wyoming Community College. There's been colleges and stuff around the area and all over the United States and hospitals that have had ransomware. Some people have paid the ransoms because they just can't bring their systems back online without their data. If you pay the ransom, you may or may not get your data back. So ransomware encrypts your data and you can't get to it until you get the key to unencrypt it. What's one solution for that? Well, one solution is to have offsite backups that are not connected in real time to the network. But that costs money, and not everybody has that. It depends on, for a hospital, can you afford to take, like a day or two to restore everything from an offsite backup? Well, people could die. So ransomware is a real pickle right now because, and it has been for a while, because people make buttloads of money from it. That's what drives a lot of the social engineering, the ransomware, all the malware that comes in is money. There's criminals are in on it. Nation states are in on it. They're all about making money and spreading terror. Cyberspace is the new frontier for war. Okay, zero-day attack means that you have a bug in your software and people exploit it before the manufacturer can patch it. Denial of service. You have a server providing services to somebody, and if more people come in than you can handle, you can't handle anything anymore. You just crash and burn. So that's a denial of service. And how they do that is they use what are called zombie networks or botnet networks. So if you have 1 million computers hammering on your website, how long can your server keep going? It can only handle so many connections. There's a physical limitation to how many connections can be handled. And so that's another way to disrupt things. You can crack passwords. That's one of the things we do in cybersecurity, actually ethical hacking. We do more of that. What makes us the most vulnerable? Lack of user education. Non-compliant old systems, unpatched systems, leaving default passwords into places, old OSs, people on the inside. There's all kinds of things. But notice lack of user education is at the top because the biggest threat vector in any network, meaning how something bad could enter, is the user. Because all I have to do is send an email to you. You click on the wrong link. That's it. Your whole network is down. If you initiate something from inside the network, all bets are off. No matter how sophisticated your firewall is, you could be done with. We're not going to worry about that today. So you may or may not have seen this. You get weird things. I used to see this a lot more than I see it now, which to me indicates that either I'm around a better class of people who know more about computers. I don't know. Antivirus and anti-malware is actually the reason, because it's gotten a lot better at capturing all these weird things. But if you see suspicious stuff in your computer, it's probably time to ask somebody how to clean it out or get somebody to clean it out for you. But this is not as bad as it used to be. Now, however, if you're in the business world and you're a cybersecurity person, well, you better know about all the tools to get rid of all the viruses and everything else. One of the things that you do is, if you know something's infected, is disconnect it from your main network. You quarantine the computer to use like its own individual network or something, and you try to clean it out there. You don't try to do things and leave things that are infected on the network. Remediating means that you get everything up and going again. Sometimes you can't remove things. I've run into times where there's stuff I just can't get rid of, so I wipe and reload the system. I try to back up the data first, but that's not always possible. So again, one of your best defenses is always have a backup. Always. Always make sure, check your anti-malware software. Is it up to date? Are your Windows up to date? That's part of our normal maintenance, is to check those things. Oh yeah, there it is. After something bad has happened, and it's not necessarily anybody's fault, it's always good to educate the user. Just remember, with all security measures in place, a user can still bypass a lot of things accidentally. So user training, user awareness. You want users to be aware that there's dangers out there, but you don't want them so paranoid they don't do any work. Here we are. We have PII, personal identifiable information. There's various, I don't know if they talk about that here. Yeah, but there's various regulations depending on the type of business you work for. So like HIPAA is the privacy regulations for hospital. We are under FERPA and then also under, I think it's called Sarbanes-Oxley or something. I can't remember what it is. But there's various government regulations that most public institutions have to adhere to. There's also best practices from SANS.org or NIST.gov. Those are two places that have a lot of the what's called a framework, meaning recommended practices for ways to secure your network. So there's all kinds of help out there, but knowing about it and being able to set it all up, boy, that is a lot to learn. Yeah, we're not going to go any deeper than that. That gives you the idea of it. I think that's it for today. See you later.